at 1460.
1460 WVOX.
Now, live from Whitney Media, 1460 WVOX, The Greenberg Report, with Greenberg Town Supervisor Paul Feiner. You can join in the conversation at 914-636-0110. Now on 1460 WVOX, here's Greenberg Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
Hi, my name's Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenberg Town Supervisor. Affordable housing is difficult for some, and today we have as our special guest Peter Hadley. Peter Hadley is a realtor with a heart who really cares about his clients, and he's trying very hard to help people who are low-income residents find apartments. So we're going to discuss with him this morning his efforts and some of the frustrations he has and some recommendations. So Peter, welcome to the program.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate it.
Peter, could you maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Peter Hadley. I'm a real estate for Keller Williams, White Plains. And my partner and I, we go into homeless shelters and we try to help out people that need help.
And what made you decide to want to help people who are on the lower income spectrum?
Okay, I've got a short story also. I am from the homeless shelters. 13 years ago, I wound up in a shelter, and I had to fight my way out of it, and no agents would help me out.
That's amazing. So basically, you turned your life around.
Yes, sir.
Why were you homeless?
I was homeless because I was addicted to a substance, and I found myself homeless. Everybody had given up on who I was, and I pretty much had no other choice but to go to the homeless shelter.
And which homeless shelters did you live in?
Open Arms Shelter.
Could you tell us a little bit about your experiences at Open Arms?
It was an eye-opening experience. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody, but it really turned my existence around. It made me realize what I did not want, and I did not want to be in a shelter.
And what were some of the horrible things that happened in the shelter?
I got into a couple of fights. I got stuff stolen from me. I was teased because of my speech impediment. Also, I was pushed around. The situation was very difficult.
Is Open Arms run by the county or?
It's run by the county, yes.
And about how many people lived in the shelter?
I would say around 45.
And you were at that shelter for how long again?
For about 5 months.
Wow, that's so in some ways it was a horrible experience, but maybe it was a blessing in disguise because it gave you empathy.
Yes, it did. Absolutely.
And before you became homeless, could you tell us when you were growing up, what type of life did you have?
Well, I was a typical Westchester kid until I was 10, and I had issues home, and I was put in a children's shelter, foster homes, and I wound up in the Andrews Children's Home where I turned my whole life around.
Now, you're probably the exception rather than the rule. Would you say that's
I would
true?
agree, yes.
And did you have any mentors or people who helped you overcome the odds and turn your life around?
Absolutely. At the Andrews Children's Home, I had counselors, and one of my social workers there, David Parker, was a huge presence in my life.
And what was the one thing that happened that made you want to change your life?
I wanted what other people had, and I was thrown to the curb in school because I was not a great student. The reason why I was not a great student was because I was being thrown out. I was homeless as a child. I didn't have time to do homework. I was skipping school because I was in survival mode.
Oh, wow. So you were basically trying to survive and just live day to day. We have to take a break, and in the next 5 minutes, after 5 minutes, we'll be back. You're really an amazing person because I didn't realize that you turned your life around. I thought you were just a realtor who wanted to help people. So I'm really even more impressed with you now than I was when I first met you.
Thank you so much.
I'm Paul Feiner, Greenberg Town Supervisor, and we're going to be interviewing Peter Hadley, a realtor who turned his life around and is now helping others. I'm Paul Feiner, Greenberg Town Supervisor.
Fourteen 1460 WVOX.
Now back to the Greenberg Report on 1460 WVOX. Once again, here's Greenberg Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
Hi, my name is Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenberg Town Supervisor, and I first met Peter Hadley last year, and Peter stopped by my office, and he had a young woman who he's trying to help who is homeless, and he was asking help finding her housing in Greenberg, and I was impressed with Peter for being so compassionate and caring about others. I didn't realize until now that he used to be homeless, and that's the reason why he wants to help other people who are homeless. So, could you tell us a little bit about your business and what you're focusing on?
Yes. We are focusing
And
on...
what's the name of the business?
Keller Williams, White Plains. My partner and I set on this journey together to become real estate agents to help out others, the other people that most of the other agents don't help out. And it's not because they don't want to help out, they just don't understand the situation.
Now, is Keller Williams that's a major firm, right?
Yes, it is.
So how many real estate brokers are there?
They're about 250.
So basically, a lot of the realtors are just helping like everybody.
Yes.
Which is what most people do. But your specialty is helping people who are lower income. Do you help everybody also, even the wealthier?
Yes, we will go across the actual board. We will do upscale homes, but we are very much want to help out these people that nobody will help out.
And as a realtor, if you're helping people who are, renting lower income units, does that mean that the amount of money that you collect as a realtor is less?
It is less, yes, but we've gotten involved in this to make a true difference.
So your goal is not the money, it's really to change lives.
It's to change lives, yes.
So you should be a public official.
Oh, yes, maybe.
You could run against me instead.
Oh.
But the thing is, actually, that's really tremendous. Could you tell us maybe some of the stories that you have?
Yes, we go into shelters, Coachman Shelter, and we will seek out families that are stuck there and that have totally given up any type of hope of ever getting out of these shelters.
And have you had successes?
We have had some very rare because we are hitting a wall with owners, landlords, apartment buildings. They don't want to accept Section 8, as well as Department of Social Service Housing.
Now, where are you living as an ex-homeless?
I'm in the Rye Brook area. Like I said, I picked myself up, and I'm trying to help out others to help themselves out also.
And did you have a hard time as a former homeless person finding housing?
Yes, I suffered for 9 months. Not one agent would help me out. So I had to hit the actual streets and get myself housing. It was very painful.
And what was the thing that turned it around for you?
What turned my life around was that I no longer wanted to be in this situation, and I realized all the pain and suffering that I put myself through, it would take me and be the man that I wanted to always be. I wouldn't be half the man that I am now if I didn't go through everything that I have gone through.
Right. In terms of the situations you've had, have you had? You mentioned you've had some success stories.
Yes, we have had some. It's very hard. We're going up against a lot. We do not give up. We are a hard-working team.
And how could you tell us a little bit about some of the people you've been successful
Yes.
or unsuccessful with?
Well, we were successful with a family that their apartment building caught on fire on Van Cortlandt Park Avenue, Yonkers, and we just got them housing.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
How
And,
did you? What was it? How long did it take you to find housing?
that one was kind of fast. Took us a couple of weeks there, only because of the situation was so out there that other people wanted to help out.
So if somebody's like a fire victim, then people feel, wow, I'm going to help them. But if they're homeless and they have had a drug problem, even if they're reformed and
Yes.
got their life back, a lot of people just don't want to do anything.
No, they will turn a back. They will not talk with us. They won't. It's very difficult. We even had a family that filled out a housing application. The management never got back to us. We even put the actual application fee up, too, for them.
Well, so it's very, very, frustrating. Why do you
Yes.
think people are scared of the homeless?
Well, I think they don't understand that circumstances, and I consider myself the same, we are all thrown into the same boat. We're addicts, or we haven't paid our bills, or we're not good people, or we're troublemakers, and that is not the case.
Right. And everybody needs a second chance in life, and people sometimes who are very successful and wealthy, they've also messed up, but they get away with it.
Yes, exactly.
Was it difficult to get the job with Keller Williams?
No, we worked very hard on getting our real estate license, and we told them our situation and what we wanted to do, and they wanted to help out.
That is, that is great. In terms of legislation, do you have any suggestions, since I'm in government and there's other lawmakers, what we could do to make life, better?
Absolutely. This is our biggest issue. How could someone coming out of a homeless shelter have an $80,000 a year salary and 700 credit score? It's not going to happen, and that's what we are dealing with here.
Right.
So it's sort of how I see it, we're being discriminated against.
We have to take a break, and after the break, we'll be back with Peter Hadley of Keller Williams. He was homeless and turned his life around. What's your contact information?
My phone number is 914-338-3350. My email is phadley23@gmail.com.
Thank you. We'll be right back. I'm Paul Feiner, Greenberg Supervisor.
Now back to the Greenberg Report on 1460 WVOX. Once again, here's Greenberg Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
Hi, I'm Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenberg Town Supervisor, and we have a very special guest, Peter Hadley. He's a realtor, and he's with Keller Williams. But unlike some realtors who focus on high end or middle end or even low end clients, Peter heart and specialty is focusing on people who could be homeless or have been homeless. He wants to give people a chance to uplift themselves and do what he did and turn their life around. And, sometimes I guess with all the obstacles people face, it could keep them from turning their lives around. Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Because I guess if you keep, trying to improve your life and you keep getting rejected, it gets discouraging, and then a lot of people would have given up.
Yes.
Did you ever, when you were homeless, did you ever feel, you know what, I'm never going to get out of this, I'm going to just give up?
To a certain extent, yes, but I am one that I've never given up. Even my deepest, darkest battles with addiction, I never gave up. And that's the message that me and my partner put on to everybody we see and these families. We cannot give up. We are here for you.
And, again, I asked about this a little bit before, but was there like social workers or anybody in the government? There's all these government programs. Did anybody from the government help you turn your life around?
Not really. One person did, and he was in a housing office too, Grace Church Housing, Robert Andrews. He actually died. He taught me so much, and he was the one person that picked me up, and he gave me hope.
Do you feel that some of these homeless shelters, the staff, they basically are, I guess, so overwhelmed that they just don't care?
They're overwhelmed. One of my best friends, Charlie, of the Open Arms Shelter, he just passed away a year ago. He was a true angel. And since he died, so much has gone down. So much of him was in that shelter.
We were talking during the break about a News 12 story. Could you tell us about that?
Yes. This beautiful family stumbled upon my partner and I. They had given this other realtor $20,000 down. Supposedly, they found them an apartment. It was a scam. They stole their money. They called us up. They somehow found us, and we saw them, and they made such an impact on us, and we wanted to help them out.
That is great. When you deal with landlords, do they sometimes just hang up on you?
They will hang up. This is the situation. If I tell them I have a client that's Section 8, they will either hang up or they will say we don't accept it. So what my partner and I have to do, we have to get our clients in to see them and then spring it upon them.
So basically, they'll meet with you, they'll ask the information, and then you'll say Section 8, and if the person seems that they're respectable looking, then they may.
Yes, we have to sell them on them, and we have to sell them on Section 8 that it's so safe that your rent is being deposited in your account. Section 8 is better than cash. It's guaranteed payment. It's safety for the actual owners. If the Section 8 clients cause any problems, you go right to that office and they will handle it.
So let's say I'm on a low income, and I have a Section 8 certificate, which is hard to get. Then what percent does Section 8 pay the entire rent or just partial?
Section 8 pays 70%, and then the tenant will pay 30% of their salary.
And how much could it be? The same market rents as anybody else?
Yes.
So if I find an apartment, say in White Plains, for like $1,500, which is a like a higher rent.
Yes.
And I'm on Section 8, 70. If I find a landlord, even in a high-end building that takes Section 8, they could use a Section 8 certificate.
100%. The owner will get 70% of that $1,500 deposit right in their account.
And so like you said, it's guaranteed payment. And if
Yes.
people, let's say people don't pay, then does it take a long time to evict somebody?
Well, it would be the average, but here's the kicker here. Most times, the Section 8 client isn't going to do that because they will then risk losing their Section 8 voucher.
Right. So the thing is, if they get the Section 8, the landlord is guaranteed, unlike others, 70% of the rent, no matter what happens.
No matter what like happens, and I'm pretty sure a very high percentage of Section 8 people are never evicted. It's very rare because they want that voucher. Without that voucher, they will be homeless. That is a huge incentive to pay your percentage.
Now, a lot of landlords don't want to deal with the government because there's so much paperwork and bureaucracy. With Section 8, how bureaucratic is it?
Well, at the beginning, it can be tough. You're going to have to wait 4 or 5 weeks for your first month's rent, but once the system is there, it's so easy.
So really, a little work, then after it's stress-free.
It's stress-free. They get their checks right into their accounts.
So in terms of, self-paying people, that's Section 8 is actually better.
Honestly, it really is, because across the board, if someone's paying cash, and this is our expertise here, you have just as big a risk, if not more, of them not paying your rent. And then you got to go through the whole process of court, eviction, 30-day notice, marshal. So it's really safer to take Section 8, yes.
But isn't there like a stigma with Section 8? And is that one of the reasons why landlords
There's
don't want
a
to do it?
terrible stigma, and we deal with it. We have had owners saying they're drug addicts, they wreck the apartments, they do blah, 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 and it's just not fair. This can be on both ends of the spectrum, cash and Section 8.
Right. And the federal government has cut back, thanks to President Trump and I guess the Republicans in Congress, on Section 8.
Yes, well, all of these Section 8 is shut now. Yes, pretty much. And there are long waiting lists, too.
Right.
If you're on it, it's long.
Do you know how long it is?
Well, CVR, White Plains, I mean, you could be on there for years.
So if you basically are interested in Section 8 and you need it, it could take a long time.
It could take a very long time.
You know if Section 8 helps people with disabilities?
Of course, 100%. They also have, it's called Shelter Plus Housing. It's the same as Section 8. And this helps out people that have psychiatric issues.
Well, we have one more break, and then we'll be back in a few minutes. I'm Paul Feiner. I'm Greenberg Town Supervisor. I'm interviewing Peter Hadley. He's with a real estate company, Keller Williams, and he specializes in helping the homeless and people who are less advantaged. And your phone number?
Is 914-338-3350.
Terrific. I'm Paul Feiner. We'll be back in a few minutes.
1460 WVOX.
1460 WVOX.
Now back to the Greenberg Report on 1460 WVOX. Once again, here's Greenberg Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
Hi, I'm Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenberg Town Supervisor, and my guest is Peter Hadley with Keller Williams Real Estate, and your phone number there is?
914-338-3350.
And Peter impresses me because he was homeless, he was down on his luck, and he was addicted, but he turned his life around. And now, instead of just looking to help the wealthy and people who are successful, his focus is also on people who, like him, have had problems, and hopefully they could also turn their lives around. I was surprised to learn during the break, and I didn't even realize this, and I've been in office for so many years, is that people who are, say, placed in a shelter. They lose their apartment. If they're working, it's not free. They have to pay. Is that true?
Absolutely. We have heard of situations there where some of these people are paying $2,000 a month to be in a homeless shelter.
That is like incredible. So wouldn't they be able to find an apartment for $2,000 a month? That's nice.
Well, yes, but the issue is they're giving their money to the shelter, to the Department of Social Services. Thus, they have no money to get themselves out of the shelter. Thus, they're stuck in the shelter.
So what if they would just say, you know, if I don't want to, you know, can't you find an apartment for that amount?
Well, this is the stipulation here. If they don't hand that cash over, they are thrown out and they're homeless.
Oh, so they have to turn it over.
Yes.
And if they don't turn it, and this way they don't have the money or the...
It's a catch-22 here. They want them to leave, but thus you got to give whatever funds you have, so thus you're stuck.
That is really heartbreaking. Now, the homeless shelters that you've seen, are, you know, they clean, or do you see mice? And
We have seen roaches, mice. Our clients have expressed they have to tape up their bags, keep bags hanging because of the mice getting into all of their stuff.
so it's very scary.
Yes, it is.
Gosh, I don't know what I would do if I'd see a mice in my
Yes.
house.
Yes.
In terms of Section 8, you know, one of the things is you see a lot of Section 8 in Yonkers, but you don't see it elsewhere.
Well, this is a problem. We feel, and as agents, we can never steer anybody to any area. It's what our clients want. And it's so sad that a client that wants to be in Scarsdale, White Plains, whatever, can't be in the area they want to be in. They feel that they need to be in a specific area, and this is not fair.
You know, yesterday I attended a meeting of the Westchester municipal officials, and we heard from the head of the County Human Rights Committee. And I'm sort of curious, do you find that different ethnicities get different treatment? Like if somebody is Hispanic, are they more likely to be turned down than somebody who, say, is white and homeless?
That's a tough one.
Have you experienced any?
We have experienced this across the board, yes. This is going on, yes.
But
absolutely.
And have you ever thought of like filing complaints with the Human Rights Committee?
I would love to make a difference and have this put into the fair housing law. There is discrimination going on across the board, and this is not in one of the fair housing laws what is going on. And we would love to help out and make a difference here.
And again, one of the things that you mentioned is that people who are worked sometimes feel that they're trapped because they can't get out of the system.
They can't get out of the system, thus they stay in it. And it's something else, too. If they're making too much salary, they won't get food stamps either. So thus they're in a shelter. They don't have food. The shelters do feed them, but you don't have, your food stamps are chopped in half or you get none. It's a problem.
Have you gotten any help from other elected officials at any level of government? Have you done much reach out?
No, but we're starting. You were the starting point. We felt you could open up doors for us.
Oh, that's great. I'm honored that you reached out to me, and hopefully I will be able to be of help, because I think it's really important what you're doing, and I think that's also important for people to see success stories. And obviously there's so much stigma, and people basically don't believe that somebody could turn their life around, and you've turned your life around.
Yes.
So so that's great. What advice would you give to somebody who's homeless right now? What could, if you saw somebody, what would you tell them? How could they turn their life around if they're discouraged?
I tell them don't ever give up, and how I get into them is they say, you don't understand how it is. Yeah, I do. We are the same. I've been in the shelter. It breaks down walls, and if I can do it, you can do it. And that's what I tell them.
Have you ever thought about becoming a social worker also, or being a social worker part-time for, the county and a realtor? Has that been something? Or do you just like the real estate business?
I like the real estate end of it, but I would love to make a difference besides this too.
Right.
Maybe politics. Yes.
Oh, so that's because you.
Why not?
Right.
It's never too late.
It's never too late, and so right now the timing is changing, and people are looking for people who are genuinely caring, because a lot of elected officials, they go through the motions of saying that they really care, but then they really don't.
Yes, exactly.
So that's great. We only have about a minute left, and I'm wondering if there's anything else that I haven't touched on that you'd like to highlight.
No, you have touched on everything. We need help. We need the politicians. We need community. We need as many people to join as one to make a difference, to help out everybody across the actual board.
And also, if there's anyone who's listening and they have an apartment and they want to help somebody, and they want to feel that they're making a difference in somebody's life, how could they reach out to you?
They can call me up at 914-338-3350, or they can email me at phadley23@gmail.com, and I pick up my phone 24 hours a day.
That is great. So I'm Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenburgh Town Supervisor, and we're ran out of time, but I want to thank you for being a guest, and I think you're a real inspiration, and I'm so thrilled that you took the time to be with us. And your phone number again?
914-338-3350. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great. I'm Paul Feiner. See everybody next week. That was great.